Hello, this is Elizabeth Griffin, the Black Romance Writer, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, if you're not following me, please take a moment and do so, and definitely share my content with others. You can also leave comments, you can leave reviews, you can do so many things to support the channel. Today, I want to talk about young adult fiction. That is a subject that is extremely important to me and is dear to my heart. And if I want to be a little more specific, I can say African American young adult fiction. And then if I want to get even more specific, I can say Black fiction. The reason young adult fiction is important to me is because these are our first readers. These are young people who are just starting their journey of learning and discovering language and literature and stories and storytelling. And for these readers, you and I as writers can create a phenomenal, exciting world, a world that they've never seen before, experienced before. The reason young adult fiction is important to me also is because I started reading and enjoying reading at the age of 13. I discovered Harlequin romances and I immediately fell in love. I had a horrible reading level. I read at maybe a 5th grade reading level when I was 13, which is horrible. But through reading Harlequin romances and having a dictionary at my side and using that dictionary every other sentence, I was able to learn how to read. And more importantly, I didn't know that I was learning how to read because I was enjoying the stories. The reason I like young adult fiction also is because as a young reader, you have no expectations. You are willing and you are happy and eager to jump into these stories, to believe the storytellers, and to go to places that you never could have imagined. Harlequin romance has taken me to so many different countries. I've met so many people. I've fallen in love over and over again. And I was a voracious reader. Let me tell you, I would go to the library and I would take out 10 books and I would read them all. And my aunt, who raised me at the time, could not believe that I was reading these books. But as she watched me and as she saw me return to the library and check out more books, she realized that this love of reading was real. In reading these love stories, in reading Harlequin romance and Harlequin Presents, I didn't immediately realize that all the characters I was reading about were white, that all the people that were falling in love were white. I didn't care because the stories were amazing and I was experiencing emotions that I didn't know existed. So I read these Harlequin romances and Harlequin Presents and anything else I could get my hands on for a long, long time. So by the time I reached 21, my reading habits changed. I started becoming more aware of the fact that I'm African American and I want to read stories about African Americans. So then I discovered different books, different types of books, books by African writers. And I became very conscious of the fact that the romance novels I was reading did not feature love stories with Black people. And when I was a teenager, I desired to read stories about Black teenagers. Along with these Black writers, I discovered used bookstores. And let me tell you, I fell in love all over again with reading. And in these used bookstores that were scattered throughout the city of Philadelphia, I found books by African writers, such as James Ngugi, who I just recently found out changed his name to Ngugi wa Thiong'o. And he wrote Weep Not My Child and the play The Black Hermit. I also discovered books by Richard Wright, who wrote Native Son, and Langston Hughes, who was a beautiful, phenomenal poet, and my favorite, Ann Petrie, who wrote The Street. Not to mention Chinua Achebe, who wrote When Things Fall Apart. And there are so many more writers. Terry McMillan, who wrote Disappearing Acts and Waiting to Exhale. There were so many Black writers that I was discovering, not to mention the Black bookstores who always had book signings featuring indie authors. So I'm saying all of this just to give you an idea of where I began as a reader. I was a young adult reader, and my journey during my 20s. And obviously, I've continued to love stories, and I began writing as an indie author, my first novel, Naira. But I just want to reiterate how important it is to foster the love of reading for young adults and to create material and to create stories and unique stories that feature African American children, Black children, children of color. And it doesn't matter, even though I'm speaking specifically about young adult fiction for African Americans and Blacks, I think it is important for every community, every ethnic group to create stories that are unique and specific to their culture, to their folklore, to their storytelling, because children need stories. They need to be entertained. They need to see that there is a world out there where you can identify with other characters that may be going through some of the same things that you're going through, and to fall in love with reading and storytelling, and to take that love and carry it throughout your life. And my love of reading has allowed me to understand the English language and has allowed me to be able to use comprehensive skills and to have analytical skills and to pay attention to detail. The reason that this subject matter, young adult fiction, is important to me now is because even though I write adult fiction, adult romance, I'm going back to my first love, which is young adult fiction. Even though I have 45 titles under my name and I have been writing for over 10 years in the contemporary romance category, I have decided that it is extremely important for me to return to young adult fiction and to tell stories that need to be told, that can only be told by me, such as the story that I'm writing now, called The Cinderella Complex, which deals with colorism, which deals with a Black girl who does not like her dark skin, who thinks that bleaching her skin will solve all of her problems. This is not a story that you're going to find in mainstream writing or in mainstream young adult fiction. However, it is a story that I think is important. It is a story that I think can help a lot of young girls to deal with colorism and the things that may come along with colorism, and to show them that their skin complexion is beautiful and that there are people out there who will love their skin complexion and who will appreciate their hair texture. There are other stories that I'm writing, like The Whip, which the first season of this political thriller is dealing with drill music, because I have become aware lately of all the rappers that have been murdered and that have been slaughtered, and how a lot of people aren't talking about this, and how it is affecting the Black community, the African American community, the urban community, in such a way that there should be a spotlight shown on these deaths. A lot of these people are young. They're young boys, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's just shocking to see the violence and to see the death and to see just the horror of so many young Black men dying. So other people may not be talking about these subjects or writing about these subjects or putting them in young adult fiction. So that is my responsibility. That is what I need to do. And I need to focus on writing stories that will resonate with Black children, with children of color, with children that may not see a way out of their circumstances. And these stories that I will be creating, they will be available in audiobooks, because some people do not have a reading level higher than the 5th grade. However, the beautiful thing about audiobooks, anybody can listen. And you can get a dictionary or you can Google words that you don't understand. But this is a teaching tool. You are entertained, but you're also gaining knowledge. You're also expanding your world beyond your neighborhood and what you see. So for me, young adult fiction is so vital and so important. And I feel a little disheartened because I'm hearing that there is not a great demand for young adult fiction, and that people are jumping over the preteen or the tween years and that type of writing and going directly into adult writing. But I think there is a need and a necessity to address the things that young people are going through. The peer pressure, the Instagram pressure, the social media pressure. There are so many things that our young people are dealing with today that I just have no idea unless I talk to other young people or unless I happen to listen to young people. I'll give you an example, and this is just a minimal thing. I was riding my bike home and I saw all these young kids, and they were going to a performing arts high school, but they're all coming from Dunkin' Donuts or Dunkin'. And this one young lady mentioned that she wanted a caramel latte. And I thought, do young people drink caramel latte? Really? I just found it so interesting. Usually you think about sodas or things like that. So the world around me is changing and evolving. And I thank God that I have young people in my life that can explain things to me, that can break things down to me. And I also appreciate YouTube. I came across a young drill rapper that was murdered in July, and it touched my heart, and it just made me realize that, wait a minute, there's this type of music that I never really thought about it. And what is drill music? And I thought drill music was music that was created by marching bands or through marching bands. I had no idea what it really meant. So I'm learning and I'm giving back to my community, and I'm enjoying creating characters. And hopefully I give hope to young people and give them inspiration and give them a view of life that they may not have seen. So these are the reasons why young adult fiction is important to me, and I love doing it. And please share your opinion, your experiences. Leave me advice. I would definitely take it. And as always, thank you for joining me on my platform. I am wishing you love, peace, joy, and happiness as always. Until next time, bye-bye.